Hello to everyone. Today my agenda to delay the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Okay. For a better understanding of this code, I am going through some multiple choice questions, some practical problems, and some theoretical questions. Okay. Right. Here, first reading of this code. What will you learn? Know the concepts of insolvency and bankruptcy. To have understanding of important terminologies used in the code, identify the structure and applicability of the code, understand the manner and the process of corporate insolvency resolution process and fast track resolution corporate process. Okay, know the process of voluntary liquidation of corporate person, right? Here we know insolvency term is used for both individuals and organizations. Okay, insolvency term is used for both organizations and individuals. For in case of individuals, how will I call, and in case of organization, how will I call? Okay, for individuals, it is known as bankruptcy, and for its corporate, it is corporate insolvency. Okay, right. Next up, insolvency in this code refer that is state means position. Okay, we know here the term insolvency can be used for individuals and organizations, corporates. Okay, for individuals it can be considered it known as bankruptcy. For organization and corporates known as corporate insolvency, right? State when an individual or company are not able to pay the debt and value of assets held by them are less than liability. Okay, if untreated insolvency, it will be lead to for non-corporates it is bankruptcy. For corporates it is liquidation, right? Okay, next here liquidation is the winding up of a corporation or incorporated entity. There are many entities that can initiate proceedings to cause the liquidation, those being the regulatory bodies, the directors of a company, the shareholders of a company, and a unpaid creditor of a company. Okay, right. What are the distinguishing features of insolvency and bankruptcy code? Comprehensive law, it is a very comprehensive law and no multiplicity of laws. Okay, low time resolution, nothing but that is 180 days for a corporate insolvency resolution, further extent of 90 days, not more than once. In case of fast track resolution process, that is for a small companies 90 days, further extent of 45 days, not more than once, you know. Next, one window clearance, that is one of the distinguishing feature, and one chain of authority, priority to the interest of workmen and employees. Okay, next no regulatory authority, new regulatory authority. Okay, that are distinguishing feature. What are the distinguishing features of insolvency and bankruptcy code? One is a comprehensive law, it is very comprehensive law, no multiplicity of laws, low time resolution. Okay, one time clearance. Okay, next one window clearance, not one time clearance, one window clearance, new regulatory authority, one chain of authority. Okay, next priority to the interest of workmen and employees, one chain authority. For corporates, the adjudicating authority NCLT. For individuals, debt recovery tribunal, we know. Next, what are the objectives of code? Here the objective, first to consolidate and amend the law relating to reorganization and insolvency resolution of corporate persons, partnership firms and individuals, to promote entrepreneurship. That is one of the objective of insolvency and bankruptcy code. To increase the availability of credit and to establish an insolvency and bankruptcy board of India as a regulatory body for insolvency and bankruptcy law. These are all the objectives. Next, what are the regulatory mechanism? Here this is insolvency and bankruptcy code has 5 pillars. In those 5 pillars, One is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Another one is Adjudicating Authority. In the under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, Insolvency Professional Agency, Insolvency Professionals, Information Utility. Okay, Adjudicating Authority. Those are 5. Next, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Yeah, functions of next, Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India. Its head office New Delhi, and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India was established on 1st October 2016. Okay, right. Next, the what is the purpose of this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India? So the code provides for establishment of a regulator who will oversee these entities and to perform legislative, executive and quasi-judicial function with respect to the insolvency professionals, insolvency professional agencies and information utilities. Okay, right. Next, in functions of insolvency professional agencies. There are 3 functions. One is the regulatory functions, another one is executive functions, another one is quasi-judicial functions. Regulatory functions. What are the regulatory functions? Dealing, adopting detailed standards and codes of conduct through bylaws that are made public and are binding on all members. Executive functions. What are the executive functions? Monitoring, inspecting and investing members on a regular basis, gathering information on their performance with the overarching objective of preventing frivolous behavior and malfeasance in the conduct of insolvency professional duties. Right. Next, quasi-judicial functions. Addressing grievances of aggrieved parties, hearing complaints against members and taking suitable actions. Right. Quasi-judicial. What are the quasi-judicial functions? Addressing grievances of aggrieved parties, hearing complaints against members and taking suitable actions. Executive functions. What are the executive functions? Gathering information on their performance with the overarching objective of preventing frivolous behavior. And next, executive functions. In those executive functions, one is monitoring, inspecting and investing members on a regular basis. Next, insolvency professionals. Okay, insolvency professionals. Who are insolvency professionals? Okay, insolvency professionals are intermediaries. It play a key role in efficient working of bankruptcy process. Right. An insolvency professional, if appointed as a resolution professional, shall act as a neutral trustee of the assets of the organization. Next, every insolvency professional shall abide by the following code of conduct. Okay, to take reasonable care and diligence while performing his duties, to comply with all the requirements and terms and conditions specified in the bylaws of insolvency professional agency of which is a member, to allow the insolvency professional agency to inspect his records. Okay, to submit a copy of the records of every proceeding before the adjudicating authority to the board, as well as to the insolvency professional agency of which is a member, and to perform his functions in such manner and subject to such conditions as may be specified. Next, information utilities. Information utilities consists of financial information about corporate data. Okay, what are the obligations of information utility? Yeah, create and store financial information in a universally acceptable format and meet such a minimum service quality standards as may be specified by regulations, have interoperability with other information utilities, accept electronic submissions of financial information from persons who are under obligation to submit financial information. Okay, right. Next, structure of the code. This code has 5 parts. Okay, first part, preliminary discussion. Second part, insolvency resolutions and liquidation for corporate persons. Third part, insolvency resolution and bankruptcy for individuals and partnership firm. Fourth part, regulation of insolvency professionals and agencies and information utilities. Fifth one, miscellaneous. Okay, total 255 sections in those 5 parts. Right. Next, this code, insolvency, and we know act. What is the difference between act and code? Act that is a single. but code it consists of number of acts. It combination of number of acts. Code nothing but combination of acts, right? Here, yeah, code. This code came into an enforcement on 28th May 2016. However, the central government appointed different dates for different provisions of this code, and any reference in any such provision to the commencement of this code shall be constituted as reference to the commencement of that provision. We know. Next, yeah, what is the applicability of the code? For it is applicable for individuals. Is it applicable for LLP? Is it applicable for companies? For which companies is it applicable? Okay. Here, any company incorporated under Companies Act 2013 or under any previous law. Previous law we know 1956. So for Companies Act 2013. So for any company registered under Companies Act or any previous law, so this code, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, is applicable. And any other company governed by any special act for the time being in force, except insofar as the said provision is inconsistent with the provisions of such a special act. Next, any limited liability partnership under the LLP Act 2018. So is it applicable for LLP? Yeah, it is applicable to LLP. Next, any other body incorporated under any law for the timing in force as the central government may by notification specifying this behalf. Is it applicable for guarantors, personal guarantors? Yeah, really, it is applicable for personal guarantors to corporate debtors. Is it applicable to partnership firms and proprietorship firms? Yeah, it is applicable to partnership firms and proprietorship firms also. Next, is it applicable to individuals? Yeah, really, it is applicable to individuals also. Okay, other than persons who are personal guarantors to corporate debtors. Okay, it is applicable to individuals, partnership firms, proprietorship firms, LLPs, any company registered under Companies Act 2013 or any previous company law, any company which are registered under any special act. Okay, right. Next, is it non-applicability of the code? Is it applicable to any financial service provider? No, it is not applicable to financial service provider. Okay, right. Next, important definitions. Who are corporate person, who are corporate debtor, who are creditor, what is a debt, what is a default, what is financial information. Okay, what is secured creditor, what is a security interest, what is a transaction, what is transfer of property, what is adjudicating authority, what is corporate applicant, what is a corporate guarantor, what is a dispute, what is financial creditor, what is financial debt. Okay, what is financial position, what is information memorandum, what is initiation date, what is insolvency commencement date, what is insolvency resolution process period, what is the liquidation commencement date, what is the liquidator, what is operational creditor, what is operational date, what is related party. Okay, yeah, what is resolution applicant, what is a resolution plan, what is a resolution professional, what is voting share. Okay, these are all the definitions. We know. Yeah, claim means claim means a right to payment or right to remedy for breach of contract. That is regarding claim. Corporate person means a company as defined under section 2 subsection 20 of the Companies Act, a limited liability partnership, and any other person incorporated under limited liability. So this is regarding corporate person. Who is corporate debtor? Corporate debtor means a corporate person who owes a debt to any person, nothing but financial creditor, maybe a financial creditor. That person may be a financial creditor, that person may be a operation creditor, whatever may be. But any debt, any due to any person, owes a debt to any person. So corporate debt means a corporate person owes a debt to any person. Okay, right. Creditor. Who is creditor? Creditor means any person to whom a debt is owed and includes a creditor means we know creditor may be a financial creditor may be a operational creditor. Okay, right. Creditor, another one is secured creditor. A creditor may be unsecured creditor. A creditor may be a degree holder. Okay, these are all creditors regarding creditor definition. Next, debt means a liability or obligation. Okay, default means non-payment of any debt. Financial information, nothing but records of a uh, for financial information in relation to person or means one or more of the following categories. We know records of debt of the person, okay, records of liabilities when the person is solvent, records of assets of person over which security interest has been created, records if any of instances of default by the person against any debtor, records of balance sheet and cash flow statements of the person, and such other information as may be prescribed. Okay, a person includes an individual, a person may be an individual, a person may be a HUF, a person may be a company, a person may be a trust, a person may be a partnership firm, and a person may be a limited liability person, any other entity established under statute, okay, and includes a person resident outside India. So PROI, person resident outside India can be considered as a person. So here definition, who is person? So person definition here include in Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, any individual, an individual, a HUF, a company, a trust, a partnership, a limited liability partnership, any other entity established under a statute. Okay. Here secured creditor, we know creditor means a financial creditor, operational creditor, secured creditor, unsecured creditor, decree holder. But secured creditor, who is secured creditor? Secured creditor means a creation of any security interest in favor of that person. So that is a secured creditor. Okay, security interest means right or title or interest on any property. Okay. Next, a transaction. Transaction means a nothing but agreement or arrangement in writing for transfer of assets or funds or goods or services from or to the corporate debtor. Okay, in between the relation in between any transaction between transaction means sale of goods, purchase of goods, okay, sale of asset, transfer of assets, okay, any transaction. So transaction in between corporate debtor and any other person. Okay, right. Transfer means we know sale, purchase, gift, loan, okay, possession, lien, okay, that can this is a transfer. Next, transfer of property. So means transfer of property includes any transfer of any interest. Okay, right. Next, adjudicating authority. Adjudicating authority for the purpose of this part 3, insolvency resolution and liquidation for corporate persons means National Company Law Tribunal, you know, adjudicating authority. Corporate applicant, who is corporate applicant? Corporate applicant may be corporate debt, corporate debtor, okay, on behalf of any member or partner of corporate debtor, an individual who is in charging of managing of affairs of corporate debtor. So corporate applicant related to corporate debtor, a person who has the control and supervision over the financial affairs of the corporate debtor. Okay, corporate applicant, we know. Corporate guarantor, who gives a guarantee to the corporate debtor in favor surety, who gives corporate guarantor means a corporate person. Okay, corporate person, we know corporate person, limited liability partnership, company. Okay, right, means a corporate person who is the surety in a contract of guarantee to a corporate debtor. Next, dispute. Dispute includes a suit or arbitration proceedings relating to existence of amount of debt, quality of good or service, a breach of representative or warranty, that is dispute. Next, we know financial creditor. We know creditor, secured creditor, financial creditor, operational creditor. Okay, degree of older. So here asking financial creditor. Who is financial creditor? So who is financial creditor? Financial creditor means any person to whom a financial debt, operational debt. So here financial debt is what and includes a person to whom such debt has been legally assigned or transferred. Here financial debt. What is financial debt? Okay, money borrowed against the payment of interest. Okay, receivables sold or discounted other than any receivables sold on non-recourse basis. Okay. Next, any counter indemnity obligation, respect of guarantee, indemnity, and bond documentary, letter of credit or any other instrument issued by a bank or financial. So whatever may be in case of advances and loans to any form of loan, any form of financial assistance to given to corporate debtor by financial creditor, that is can be considered as a financial debt. So financial position. Financial position in relation to any person means the financial information of a person as on a certain date. Okay, financial position in relation to any person means the financial information of a person as on a certain date. Next, information memorandum. Information memorandum means a memorandum prepared by an resolution professional. Okay, what is the initiation date? Means the date on which a financial creditor or corporate applicant or operational creditor, as the case may be, makes an application to the adjudicating authority for initiating corporate insolvency resolution process. That is initiation date. What is the insolvency commencement date? On which date admitted the application by adjudicating authority. So such a date can be considered as insolvency commencement date, or else when adjudicating authority initiate the corporate insolvency resolution process. So such a date can be considered as insolvency commencement date. We know insolvency resolution process period, we know 180 days. 180 days, that is insolvency resolution process period. Next, liquidation commencement date, on which date liquidation proceeding can be initiated by adjudicating authority, we know. Next, a liquidator. Liquidator means insolvency professional appointed as a liquidator in accordance with provisions of chapter 3 or chapter 5 of this part. Next, operational creditor. Operational creditor. Operational creditor means a person to whom an operational debt. Financial creditor, a person whom's financial debt. But here, operational debt. What is operational debt? Claim in respect of provision of goods or services, including employment or any debt in respect of payment of dues, arising under any law for the timing force and payable to the central government, any state government or any local authority. We know related party. We know related party, director or partner or relative of a director or partner of the corporate debtor, a key managerial personnel or a relative of key managerial personnel of the corporate debtor, a LLP, a private company in which a director, partner or manager of the corporate debtor is a director and holds along with his relatives more than 2% of its share capital. A public company in which a director, partner or manager of the corporate debtor is a director and holds along with relatives more than 2% of its paid up share capital. Okay, any body corporate whose board of directors, managing director or manager in the ordinary course of business acts on the advice, directions or instructions of a director, partner or manager of the corporate debtor. Okay, right. Next, here related party. Who is related party? A person who is a relative of the individual or relative of spouse of the individual, a partner of a LLP or a limited liability partnership or a partnership firm in which individual is a partner. Okay, a private company in which individual is a director and holds along with his relatives more than 2% of its share capital. A public company in which individual is a director and holds along with his relatives more than 2% of its paid up share capital. Okay, relative with reference to any person means anyone who is related to another in following: members of a HUF, husband, wife, father, mother, son. Okay, daughter, sons, daughter and son, daughter's daughter and son, grandson's daughter and son, granddaughter's daughter and son, brother, sister, brother's son and daughter, sister's son and daughter, father's father and mother, mother's father and mother, father's brother and sister, mother's brother and sister, and wherever the relation is that of a son, daughter, sister, brother, so their spouse also is to be included. Okay, what is the resolution applicant? Means a person who individually or jointly with any other person submits a resolution plan to the resolution professional. What is resolution plan? Means a plan proposed by a resolution professional for insolvency resolution for the corporate debtor on a going concern. Who is a resolution professional? For the purpose of this part, means an insolvency professional appointed to conduct the corporate insolvency resolution process, and includes an interim resolution professional also. Voting share means here, voting means the share of voting rights of a single financial creditor in the committee of creditors, which is based on the proportion of the financial debt owed to such financial creditor in relation to the financial debt owed by the corporate debtor. Okay, next, corporate insolvency resolution process. Okay, sections 4(6)-32. Provisions related to insolvency resolution and liquidation process for corporate persons are covered in part 2 of the code. Corporate insolvency resolution is a will. What is corporate insolvency resolution process? Okay, corporate insolvency resolution is a process during which financial creditors assess whether the debtor's business is viable to continue and the options for its rescue and revival if any. If the insolvency resolution process fails or financial creditors decide that the business of debtor cannot be carried on in a profitable manner, so and it should be wound up, the debtor will undergo liquidation process and assets of the debtor shall be released and distributed by the liquidator. So what is the process of We know this is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is a comprehensive law. So what is the comprehensive of this one? First, for initiation of corporate insolvency resolution process, filing of application before NCLT, adjudication, admission or rejection of application. Next, moratorium and public announcement. What is the flow of initiation of corporate insolvency resolution process? First, file the application before NCLT. Next, adjudication, admit or reject the application. Next, issue of moratorium period and public announcement. Next, appointment of interim resolution profession. Further, formation of committee of creditors. Next, preparation and approval of resolution plan. Next, what are the consequences non-submission of resolution plan? We know. Next, when adjudicating authority admit the application, so the date 1 crore or more, a default amount 1 crore, 1 lakh or more, default amount 1 lakh or more. In case central government by notification the amount 1 lakh maybe increase 1 crore, minimum amount 1 crore, okay, not more than 1 crore rupees, not more than 1 crore rupees. Next, who is eligible for filing of application before NCLT? So financial creditor, operational creditor, corporate applicant, so corporate debtor. Okay, yeah. On behalf of financial creditor, any other person can apply for initiating of corporate insolvency resolution process to NCLT. Yeah, a guardian, an executor or administrator of estate of financial creditor, a trustee including a debenture trustee, and a person duly authorized by the board of directors of a company. Okay, next. Next, filing of an application by operational creditor. Operational creditor. First, before applying of application to NCLT, so first issued operational creditor should issue a demand notice to corporate debtor. So corporate debtor within 10 days give the reply to our operational creditor, right? If any fail by corporate debtor, then so operational creditor can initiate to apply the application, but operational creditor should have the evidence, not payment done by corporate debtor. Okay, right. Next, NCLT within 14 days of receipt of application ascertain existence of default. If default occurred, admit the application. If default not occurred, so reject the application. Allow for rectification of the defect within 7 days of receipt of notice of such rejection. Next, what are the period of appointment of interim resolution professional? Okay, the term of interim resolution professional shall continue from his appointment till the date of appointment of resolution and professional by committee of creditors in first meeting of committee of creditors. Okay, after appointing insolvency resolution professional, within 3 days you should give the public announcement. Okay, next, what are the powers of interim resolution professional? What are the duties of interim resolution professional? What are the powers of interim resolution professional? Management of affairs and exercise of power over board of directors and partners, and reporting of officers and managers, instructions to financial institutions. Those are all powers as per section 17 of the code. Next, what are the duties as per section 18 of insolvency bankruptcy code? What are the duties? Collect all information relating to assets, finances and operations of the corporate debtor. Next, receive and collect all the claims submitted by creditors. Next, constitute a committee of creditors. Next, monitor the assets of the corporate debtor. File information collected with the information utility. Next, take control and custody of any asset over which corporate debtor has ownership rights. Next, to perform such other duties as may be specified by the board. For the purposes of this section, the term assets shall not include the following, namely assets owned by a third party in possession of corporate debtor, held under trust or under contractual arrangements, including bailment. assets of any Indian or foreign subsidiary of the corporate debtor, and such other assets as may be notified by the central government in consultation with any financial sector regulator. These 3 points, what are the 3? For the purpose of this section, the term assets shall not include in assets column. So what are not included? Assets owned by third party, assets of any Indian or foreign subsidiary of the corporate debtor. Okay, such other assets as may be notified by the central government in consultation with any financial sector regulator. Okay, right. Next, appointment of resolution professional. Committee of creditors in first meeting by majority not less than 66% of voting says appoint interim resolution professional or any other insolvency professional to act as resolution professional. Okay, next. What are the duties of resolution professional? What are the powers of resolution professional? What are the duty? First, the duty of resolution professional shall be the duty of the resolution professional to preserve and protect the assets of corporate debtor, including the continued business operations of the corporate debtor. What are the powers of a resolution professional? Take custody and control of all the assets of corporate debtor, represent and act on behalf of the corporate debtor with third parties, raise interim finances subject to approval of committee of creditors, appoint accountants, legal or other professionals, maintain an updated list of claims, convene and attend all meetings of the committee of creditors. Okay, prepare the information memorandum, invite prospective lenders, investors and any other persons to put forwarded solution plans, present all resolution plans at the meetings of committee of creditors, file application for avoidance of transactions. Right. Next, yeah, what are the eligibility of an insolvency professional to be appointed as an resolution professional? First, he is eligible to be appointed as independent director under section 149 of the Companies Act 2013. Next, provided where the corporate debtor is a company. Next, he is not a related party to the corporate debtor. Next, he is not an employee or proprietor or partner of a firm of auditors or secretary of auditors or cost of auditors. Next, is not an employee or a proprietor of legal or consulting firm that has or had any transaction with the corporate debtor amounting to 5% or more of the gross turnover of such a firm in the last 3 financial years. Right? Next, yeah, committee of creditors. So how many members? Committee of creditors. So where financial creditors exist, where financial creditors not exist. In case of financial creditors exist, so what is the composition of committee of creditors? So what is the composition of committee of creditors? The committee of creditors shall comprise of all financial creditors of a corporate debtor. The resolution professional shall identify the financial creditors and constitutes a committee of creditors committee. The resolution professional shall conduct all the meetings of committee of creditors. After the constitution of a committee of creditors, the interim resolution professional is required to file a report certifying the constitution of committee to the adjudicating authority. The report shall be filed on or before the expiry of 30 days from the date of appointment of the interim resolution professional. Where financial creditors does not exist, in such case minimum 18 largest operation creditors by value, 18 largest operation. The composition of committee of creditors. In case financial creditors does not exist, in such case 18 largest operation creditors by value, 1 representative elected by all workmen, 1 representative elected by all employees. Okay, right. Next, in case of where a person is both financial creditor and operational creditor, in such case extent of financial creditor can be considered a financial creditor. Extent of debt, so debt has a extent of extent of financial debt, extent of operational debt. Extent of financial debt, treat that person as a financial creditor. Extent of operational debt, treat that person as a operational creditor. In case of joint financing creditor, so in such case where the corporate debtor owns financial debts to 2 or more financial creditors as part of a consortium or agreement, each such financial creditor shall be part of the committee of creditors and their voting shares shall be determined on the basis of financial debts owed to them. Proportion of financial debt to total debt owed by corporate debtor. Okay, we know that one. Next, quorum for the meeting, so 33%. So at least 33% of voting rights are present, either either in person or by video or audio means. Okay, if the requisite quorum for committee of creditors is not fulfilled, the meeting cannot be held and the meeting shall automatically stand adjourned at the same time and place on the next day, right? Next, resolution plan, formation of resolution plan. The resolution professional shall prepare an information memorandum which shall contain information for preparing resolution plan. So resolution professional shall provide access of the following to a resolution applicant in order to prepare a resolution plan: financial position of corporate debtor, information required by applicant for a resolution plan, other matters pertaining to corporate debtor. Okay, right. Who are the persons not eligible to act as a resolution applicant? Who are undischarged insolvent, who are willful defaulter, who are at the time of submission of resolution plan as an account or an account of corporate debtor under the management or control of such person of whom such person is a promoter, classified as non-performing asset, and at least a period of 1 year as lapsed from the date of such classification till the date of commencement of corporate insolvency resolution process of the corporate debtor. Okay, provided further that nothing in this class shall apply to a resolution applicant where such applicant is a financial entity and is not a related party to the corporate debtor. Next, order of liquidation. Order of withdrawal of application. First, withdrawal of application. 90% support is required from committee of creditors for withdrawing of application. If the committee of creditors before the expiry of resolution process intimate the adjudicating authority of their decision approved by not less than 66% of the voting share, that they have passed an order for liquidation of the corporate debtor. Next, eligibility criteria for appointment of liquidator: is eligible to be appointed as independent director, is not related party. Same, what are the eligibility required for resolution professional? Same qualities, same qualification, same eligibility criteria for liquidator also. Okay, next, distribution of assets in case of liquidation. Cost and first priority, cost and expense of insolvency. Next, workman dues for the period of 24 months and dues of secured creditors. Next, wages and any unpaid dues owed to employees other than workmen for the period of 12 months. Unsecured financial creditors, dues of central government and state government, and unsecured financial creditors, other debts and dues. That is priority of claim. Okay. Next, fast track insolvency resolution for corporate persons. It is applicable for who are a small company and for startup companies and any unlisted company. Okay, the period resolution period is 90 days. Further it extends 45 days, but not more than once. It required support 75% support is required from committee of creditors. We know that one. Next, voluntary liquidation of corporate persons. Okay, voluntary. A corporate person who intends to liquidate itself voluntarily and has not committed any default may initiate voluntary liquidation proceedings under section 59 subsection 1 of Bankruptcy and Insolvency Code 2016. Company can also liquidate voluntary if a fixed period or event was specified in the articles of company for its dissolution. The voluntary liquidation of a corporate person shall be allowed such conditions and procedural requirements as may be specified by the board. Procedure of voluntary liquidation. Company should first prepare declaration from majority of the directors of the company, verified by an affidavit stating that they have made a full inquiry into the affairs of the company and they have formed an opinion that either the company has no debt or that it will be able to pay its debts in full from the proceeds of assets to be sold in the voluntary liquidation. and the company is not being liquidated to defraud any person under section. Same documentation, audited financial statements and record of business operations of the company for the previous 2 years or for the period since its incorporation, whichever is latter. Okay, a report of the valuation of assets of the company, if any, prepared by a registered valuer. Okay, special resolution after declaration. Within 4 weeks of a declaration, there shall be a special resolution of the members of the company in a general meeting requiring the company to be liquidated voluntarily and appointing an insolvency professional to act as liquidator, or a resolution of the members of the company in a general meeting requiring the company to be liquidated voluntarily as a result of expiry of the period of its duration. We know that one. Next, approval of creditors if company owes debt. If the company owes any debt to any person, creditors representing 2/3 in value of debt of the company shall approve the resolution passed within 7 days of such resolution. We know that one. Now I'm going some multiple choice questions. Okay, RAB Bank Limited, a banking company, has defaulted in the payment of dues to their catering contractor. Can the contractor, as an operational creditor, initiate insolvency process against the bank? No. RAB Bank Limited, that is a financial service provider, so operational creditor cannot initiate any corporate insolvency resolution process against RAB Bank Limited. We know. Next, the timeline of 180 days for the corporate insolvency resolution process commences from on which date? Date of admission of application by NCLT. We know. Next, Ruby Limited filed an application to the NCLT stating that a corporate insolvency resolution process against him cannot be completed within 90 days under the fast track insolvency resolution process. Considering application and on being satisfied, NCLT ordered to extend the period of such process by 30 days. Later again, Ruby Limited initiated an application for further extension of time period of insolvency process by 15 days. Decide in the given situation whether NCLT can extend timelines by further 15 days. Okay, no. The extension of fast track insolvency resolution process shall not grant more than once, because beyond 90 days, not more than once. So 75% support from competition of committee of creditors is required. So resolution professionals shall file a application to adjudicating authority to extend beyond 90 days, but at the extension period 45 days, but it not more than once. Here already 15 days exceeded, 30 days exceeded, so further asked again 15 days. So it is not under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Next, whether an operational creditor can assign or legally transfer any operational debt to a financial creditor? Yeah, obviously, no problem. Operational creditor can assign, but yes, however, the transfer shall be considered as an operational creditor to such extent of transfer only. So financial creditor, so operational debt to transfer to financial creditor. So extent of such a operational debt, such a financial creditor who are receiving operational debt, so treated as operational creditor. So total not to be considered as a financial creditor. We know. Next, dash shall be responsible for carrying out the entire corporate insolvency resolution process and managing the operations of corporate debtor during the, who is resolution professional. Resolution professional shall be responsible for carrying out the entire corporate insolvency resolution process and managing the operations of the corporate debtor during the process. We know that one. ABC & Co, the tax consultants of X Limited, for which an interim resolution professional, okay, Mr. A, has been appointed under the corporate insolvency resolution process, has refused to furnish information to Mr. A on the grounds of client confidential. Are there any right? No. So Mr. No, the code provides the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code provides the powers to the interim resolution professional to access all information from various parties. Okay, right. Next, Mr. Satya file a petition for default of non-payment of debt against Mr. X. The amount in default claimed by petitioner was 30 lakh. Mr. X, respondent, pleaded before the adjudicating authority that the amount of claim was not belonging to the applicant. Mr. Satya asserted that he himself with his son owes 26 lakh to the respondent. Though now here, the petition he admitted that he himself with his son owes 26 lakh to the respondent. Considering the above facts, in the light of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, state the action to be taken by the adjudicating authority. Okay, here NCLT will reject the application considering that no default has occurred against Mr. Satya and is standard as a financial creditor is not proved in the petition because Mr. X is owed to his son, Mr. Satya's son, not himself. So that's why the NCLT can reject the application because this debt is not related to himself only, it is related to his son, so he is not eligible to file a petition, to file a application to NCLT. Next, person who has provided goods or services and the payment for same in due from the corporate debtor is that is operational creditor, we know. Next, he is asking some questions, theoretical questions. When will the provisions of insolvency and liquidation of corporate person be applicable on a corporate person? Whenever the due amount 1 lakh or more, so in such case corporate insolvency resolution is the provisions apply. Next, what is the insolvency resolution process for financial creditors? So financial creditor, financial creditor, one person as a financial creditor or else jointly with another financial creditors can apply application to adjudicating authority to initiate corporate insolvency resolution against a corporate debtor. That is regarding. Next, what is the insolvency resolution process for operational creditors? We know first operational creditors issue a demand notice to corporate debtor for paying due amount and issued show a evidence to adjudicating authority for not paying with bank information. Next, what are the eligibility criteria for appointment of insolvency professional as a resolution professional? For a corporate insolvency resolution, we know is not is eligible for appointing as independent director under section 149 and is not a related party to the corporate debtor. Okay, that is the eligibility criteria. Next, what is the procedure of insolvency resolution process for a corporate applicant? First, admit the application within 14 days. NCLT NCLT admit the application or reject the application. So after admitting the application, moratorium period of 180 days shall initiate. So in such a moratorium period, everything is prohibited should file against a corporate debtor. We know. Next, is there any time limit for completion of insolvency resolution process? Yeah, in case of fast track resolution process, that is 90 days, further 45 days. Here, in case corporate insolvency resolution process, 180 days plus 90 days. But one amendment is there in RTP, 330 days. Any legal proceeding, 330 days. That one. Next, what is the effect of order of moratorium? So in moratorium period, everything is prohibited, but except sale of goods or receiving of goods from up to corporate debtor. That is except. What is the resolution plan? So resolution plan is prepared by a resolution applicant and it gives to resolution professional from approving of committee of creditors. We know that one. Next, when can a corporate person initiate voluntary liquidation process? So directors of company, the period in articles of association, the period of companies is completed, or else but while issue while initiating a voluntary liquidation process, no debt is to no debt is to any financial creditor or operational creditor. Without any debt or without defaulting any debt or without defaulting any debt to any financial creditor or debt or operational creditor. Okay, in case any financial debt, uh, suppose 2/3 of value of such creditors is required. Approval of majority approval of not less than 2/3 of value of such a creditors is required in case of voluntary liquidation process. Next, Mr. Ram, an operational creditor, filed an application for corporate insolvency resolution process. He does not propose for appointment of an interim resolution professional in the application. State the provisions given by the code in the given situation. State the term of such appointment. Adjudicating authority shall apply the interim resolution professional. So such interim resolution professional recommended by board, Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India. That kind you know. Okay, right. This is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. I hope it is useful you. Okay, right. Please subscribe my channel. Please like it, share it and comment. Please stay tuned on my channel. Thank you.